Hey, how's it going? And today I wanted to do a video on the insane relationship between 3DCoat and LightWave. 3DCoat is an absolutely fantastic program. It's fairly sophisticated and complicated actually, and I'm still learning my way around it. But from what I've seen so far, if you can get this program to work with LightWave, you've got a fantastic tool set between the two of them. The problem is it doesn't seem that 3DCoat is kept up with LightWave. So there's actually some functionality in here that it works very well with LightWave until it doesn't. And because some things have absolutely just fallen, I guess, off the grid in terms of the development keeping up with each other. But if you can figure out the differences and how to get around them, 3DCoat is an absolutely fantastic program to use. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean right now. So if we come in here, now I have no geometry in layout right now. I'm going to be taking a model from 3DCoat into LightWave, but let me show you. So I'll come in here on the Paint UV mapped mesh, and I'm just going to take this thing, select this thing, which looks like a part that fell off of R2-D2 or something. But if you to navigate in 3DCoat, you just right click, right mouse button, and you can zoom in and out. Middle mouse button is side to side, and left mouse button is rotation. So that's very intuitive and easy to understand. Not everything else is intuitive though, I can tell you that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here to the airbrush, click on that, and I'm going to click on one of these smart materials. These smart materials are absolutely amazing. Like, they're really, really great. Now this tool pops up. If you go with your scroll wheel or your left mouse button, you can start painting with your left mouse button. If you hit your right mouse button, you can decrease the thickness of the paint you're putting on there. So if you don't want much paint, just right mouse button down and flatline that. And then we're just going to go ahead and paint on this. Now here's what is amazing to me. In my monitor right now, as I'm looking at this, as I'm painting this, this looks absolutely 100% photorealistic. It looks so real. There's nothing that looks more real. I mean, it looks like an absolute picture of an object right now. The paint, the realism of it, it's fantastic. It's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. It's amazing. This is 100% professional right now. That looks fantastic in 3DCoat right now. The problem is I want to get this over to LightWave. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here to File, and we're going to go Export Objects. And on here, since we have no geometry in LightWave, we've got Export Geometry, we've got all this stuff. We just want to make sure that it's PBR metalness, and then we're going to go OK. Now here's the interesting thing, the fascinating thing to me. It's like the relationship between 3DCoat and LightWave is like a relationship that broke up, or like two friends that drifted apart, because on here is you file type to save as, you can actually save it as a LightWave file. That's very important, and you'll see what I mean in a little bit here. So you've also got an object file, FBX, and all these other ones, but you actually have a LightWave object. That's very rare to find a program nowadays that lets you save out as an LWO. So if 3DCoat's listening, please bring yourself current to LightWave now if you can, you know, just for old time's sake. How about that? The beers are on me. Okay, so I'm just going to save this as test 12. All right, and we'll go save. Now that's saving out, and it's saving out all the maps. Now here's where it gets interesting. We're going to go into layout right now, and this is 2019 1.4, and we're just going to go to load, and we're going to go load object. And I'm going to come to the desktop here, and I'm going to load this one, LightWave object right there. And there it comes in. The geometry comes in, everything comes in. The only problem is this doesn't look anything like what it looked like in 3DCoat. This is like what somebody starts looking at like at 3 o'clock in the morning when the bars close. It just doesn't look the same, you know. Maybe this is what they looked like when you got to the bar first, you know, and then after you have a few beers, it looks like what it looked like in 3DCoat. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, so anyway, there's this object. Now, let me just get in closer on this. I'm going to show you something that's really, really fascinating to me. Because what's going to happen is we're going to actually make this look exactly like it looked in 3DCoat after just some things go on here. I'm going to leave it like that, and then I'm just going to switch my perspective view to my camera view so I don't have to mess around with that. Now, here's the interesting part, and this is where I was racking my brain. So if I come into the surface editor, and this is really super big for some reason, I don't know why it does that. Let me make this a little bit smaller. You can kind of see in the background there. It comes in under this initial shading group, and this must be coming from out of 3DCoat because this is not in LightWave. And it also comes in under the standard material, which we don't want. So if I come into edit node graph, we got some weirdness going on here, right? We've got this initial shading group, whatever that is, and you actually can't even delete this, but you can delete this. Now, what's interesting about this is if you click on this standard thing here, you can see there's these textures are highlighted. So if I click into this, I can see that the map is in there. It's hooking up to the albedo in the UV map object. And so it's overriding my color right here, right? So what I can do, if you want to deactivate the texturing, you can hit Shift, click, and then you can, so I'm hitting shift and left clicking to deactivate this. Now watch what happens is, so I've taken everything off of, and let me go into VPR as well so you can see a better look at it. So this doesn't really look like much of anything right now. I've taken everything off. So if you double click on, we've got our normal map and everything. So what I'm going to do is, this is basically kind of worthless to me. I'm just going to delete it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into Surface Editor. And right now we have no material. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reset this to Principled BSDF. Now we're going to come in here. Now what I was going to do is I realized that 3DCoat had generated out all the maps and everything that I need. And then it also brought it in as a LightWave object, and then it brought it in with this initial shader group thing. And now I can reset this up. And I was thinking, well, I'll just go find those files and reload them in. Well, if I come over here and I go to image and I double click on image, what I found was when I went to go look for the files, they're already loaded in. Actually, 4 of the 6 files are already loaded in, and the most important ones, these ones, are already in. So I don't even have to load the images up. They're already in the image editor. So I'm kind of like one step ahead already. So what's funny is if I double click this and I go and I load the albedo TGA and I close this and I'll hook this up to color, look at this. I was looking at this and I was like, what in the hell is that? And then I realized, that doesn't actually look half bad, but it's a little insane to me. So anyway, I realized if I come back in here to the image and I go back and I change the mapping, right? I'll come into UV map. You look at this. If you go to UV map and you go to initial shader group, and then we come back into LightWave, it looks exactly now like it looked in 3DCoat. It looks as photorealistic and as awesome as it looked in 3DCoat. So there is an ongoing relationship between 3DCoat, and it is one of the few programs that lets you render out a LightWave object. I would just say, still keep using 3DCoat. You can really get your maps in there, and if you render out as a LightWave object, you've got a really dynamite surfacing on your objects and stuff like that. So anyway, that's all I had for today. I hope you found this helpful. Take care, and if you get a chance, shoot 3DCoat some emails and say, hey, there's still people using LightWave. Please put some love into the connection between the two. So, because obviously there was stronger relationship between us at one time.